Amelia, quick question. Are you ready for today's episode?
I was born ready. This topic makes me excited.
That sounds serious. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Learning English Studio.
Hi everyone, I'm Amelia.
And I'm James.
Today's topic is simple but very powerful for your English.
Yes, but before we start, please subscribe, like, and share this podcast.
It really helps us keep making content for you.
Okay, Amelia, shall we start?
Yes, let's go. Today we're going to talk about something that everyone loves, free time, and more importantly, how to talk about your free time activities in English.
This is such a common conversation topic, and it's perfect for English learners to practice.
Absolutely. Think about how often someone asks you, "What do you do in your free time?" Or "Do you have any hobbies?" Being able to answer confidently is such an important skill in English conversations.
That's so true. And the great thing about this topic is that it's so personal and universal. Everyone has free time activities, even if they're very simple ones. It's a wonderful way to share who you are and connect with others.
Exactly. And today we'll cover all the essential vocabulary and phrases you need to talk about your free time confidently. We'll include lots of examples and practice opportunities.
Perfect. So let's start with the basics. When someone asks, "What do you do in your free time?" what are some simple ways to respond?
Good question. The simplest responses would be things like, "I like reading," "I enjoy watching movies," "I love playing sports," or "I like listening to music."
Those are perfect examples, and I think it's helpful to know that we often use verbs like, love, enjoy, prefer, or don't like when talking about free time activities.
Exactly. And you could also use phrases like, "In my free time, I," or "When I have some spare time, I," or "On weekends, I usually."
Those are great introductory phrases. Let's think about different categories of free time activities. That might make it easier for our listeners to organize their vocabulary.
Good idea. We could start with indoor activities like reading, watching TV, playing video games, cooking, or doing puzzles.
That's a great category. And then we have outdoor activities like hiking, cycling, gardening, playing sports, or having a picnic.
Exactly. And we could also talk about creative activities like painting, drawing, writing, playing a musical instrument, or photography.
Those are perfect. And let's not forget social activities like meeting friends, joining clubs, volunteering, or attending community events.
Absolutely. And there are also learning activities like taking courses, attending workshops, visiting museums, or learning a new language.
That's so true. And I think it's helpful to know that when we talk about free time activities, we often use the gerund form, verb plus ing, after verbs like, love, enjoy, and hate.
That's such an important point. So we say "I like reading," not "I like read," and "I enjoy swimming," not "I enjoy swim."
Exactly. And after verbs like want, would like, need, and plan, we use the infinitive form, to plus verb. So I want to learn, not I want learning.
That's such a clear explanation. These grammar points can be tricky, but they're essential for sounding natural when talking about your free time.
Absolutely. Let's practice with some examples. James, what do you like to do in your free time? Well, I enjoy reading mystery novels. I usually read for about 30 minutes before bed every night. I also like watching movies, especially sci-fi films. On weekends, I often go hiking with friends, and I love trying new restaurants. I'm a bit of a foodie.
That sounds like a nice balance of activities. I noticed you used enjoy reading, like watching, go hiking, and love trying. All great examples of how to talk about free time activities.
Thanks. What about you, Amelia? What do you do in your free time?
I love practicing yoga. It helps me relax and stay flexible. I also enjoy cooking and trying new recipes. On weekends, I often visit art galleries or museums. And I'm learning to play the guitar, though I'm still a beginner.
Those sound like wonderful activities. I noticed you used love practicing, enjoy cooking, visit, and learning to play. Great variety in your sentence structures.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to use different structures to make your speech more interesting and natural.
Exactly. Let's think about some common questions you might ask someone about their free time activities.
Good idea. Besides, what do you do in your free time? You could ask, what are your hobbies? How do you like to relax? What do you usually do on weekends? Or are you into any sports?
Those are perfect. And you could ask more specific questions like what kind of books do you like to read? How often do you go to the movies? Or how long have you been playing guitar?
Those are great examples, and I think it's helpful to know how to respond when someone tells you about their free time activities. You could say, that sounds interesting, or I'd like to try that sometime, or I've never tried that, but it sounds fun.
Absolutely. Conversation is a two-way street, and showing interest in what others share is just as important as sharing about yourself.
That's so true. Let's think about some common mistakes that learners make when talking about their free time. That could be really helpful for our listeners.
Good question. I think one common mistake is using the wrong verb form after like, love, enjoy, etc., like saying I like read instead of I like reading.
That's such a common mistake. Another one is using the wrong preposition with certain activities, like saying I'm interested in play tennis instead of I'm interested in playing tennis.
Oh, that's a big one. And another mistake is forgetting to use articles with activities, like saying I like to play guitar instead of I like to play the guitar.
That's so true. Articles can be tricky because some activities use them and some don't. For example, play the guitar, piano, violin, but play tennis, football, basketball.
Exactly. And I think another common mistake is using vocabulary that's too formal or too informal for the context, like saying I partake in the activity of reading literature instead of I like reading books.
That's a great example. And I think it's important to mention that it's okay to keep things simple when you're starting out. You don't need to use complex sentences or advanced vocabulary to communicate effectively.
Absolutely. Language learning is a journey, and every step forward is progress. Even being able to say, I like reading, I like movies, is a great achievement for a beginner.
That's so true. And as you become more confident, you can gradually add more detail and complexity to your descriptions. It's all about building on what you already know.
Exactly. Let's think about different types of free time activities based on interests. That might help our listeners organize their vocabulary.
Good idea. We could start with creative activities like painting, drawing, writing, photography, or playing a musical instrument.
Those are great. And then we have physical activities like running, swimming, dancing, cycling, or playing team sports.
Those are perfect. And we could also talk about intellectual activities like reading, learning languages, doing puzzles, playing chess, or attending lectures.
That's so true. And let's not forget social activities like meeting friends, joining clubs, volunteering, or attending community events.
Absolutely. And let's not forget relaxation activities like meditation, watching movies, listening to music, taking baths, or just doing nothing.
Doing nothing is definitely a valid free time activity. And I think it's helpful to know that it's okay to have simple free time activities. Not everyone has exciting hobbies.
That's such an important point. You could say, I like to relax at home, or I enjoy watching TV, or I like to sleep in on weekends. These are all perfectly fine ways to spend your free time.
Absolutely. And I think it's also interesting to talk about how your free time activities might change depending on the seasons. For example, in summer, I like to go swimming, or in winter, I enjoy staying indoors and reading.
That's so true. And your free time activities might also change depending on your mood, energy level, or who you're with.
Exactly. You might say, when I'm tired, I like to watch movies. Or when I have lots of energy, I prefer to go hiking. Or when I'm with friends, we enjoy going to cafes.
Those are perfect examples. Let's think about some more advanced vocabulary for talking about free time activities.
Good idea. You could describe activities as relaxing, energizing, creative, challenging, social, or solitary.
Those are perfect. And you could use more specific verbs and expressions like I'm passionate about photography, or I'm keen on hiking, or I'm crazy about Korean dramas.
I like keen on. That's such a useful expression. And you could say I find painting very therapeutic,
or I get a real sense of achievement from completing a difficult puzzle.
Those are great examples, and I think it's helpful to learn some idioms related to free time and hobbies, like get away from it all, take a break from your regular life, or let your hair down, relax and enjoy yourself without worrying about what people think.
Absolutely. Idioms can make your English sound much more natural and fluent. Just make sure you understand how to use them correctly.
That's such an important point. Using idioms incorrectly can sometimes sound funny or confusing.
Exactly. And I think it's helpful to practice talking about both your current free time activities and ones you used to have or would like to have.
That's so true. You could say, I used to collect stamps when I was a child, or I'd like to learn how to play the piano someday, or I'm thinking of taking up photography as a hobby.
Those are perfect examples. And I think it's also helpful to talk about how you got interested in your hobbies. You could say, I got into cooking when I moved to my own apartment, or my father taught me how to play chess when I was young.
That's such a great point. Sharing the story behind your interests makes your conversation more personal and engaging.
Exactly. Let's think about some common phrases we use when talking about free time. There are some fixed expressions that are really useful.
Good idea. What are some common phrases you can think of?
Well, there's in my spare time or in my free time, which both mean when you're not working or studying. For example, in my free time, I enjoy reading.
That's a good one. What else?
There's to get into something, which means to become interested in something. For example, I recently got into gardening.
Those are perfect. And you could use phrases like to take up a hobby, start a new hobby, or to unwind, relax after a period of work or stress.
Exactly. And I think it's helpful to learn some phrases for responding when someone tells you about their free time activities. You could say, that sounds like fun, or I've always wanted to try that, or we have that in common.
That's so true. Conversation is a two-way street, and knowing how to respond appropriately is just as important as knowing how to share about yourself.
Absolutely. And I think it's okay to keep it simple when you're starting out. You don't need to describe every aspect of your hobbies in detail. Just share a few key points that give people a sense of what you enjoy.
That's such good advice. It's about giving a general picture, not a complete inventory of your interests.
Exactly. And I think it's also okay to say, I don't really have any special hobbies, or I'm too busy to have hobbies right now. If that's the case, not everyone has formal hobbies.
That's so true, and it's important to be able to express that in English too. Let's think about some practice activities our listeners could do to improve their ability to talk about their free time.
Good idea. Well, the obvious one is to describe your own free time activities, either out loud or in writing. Start simple and gradually add more detail.
That's a great start. And you could also try to describe the free time activities of your family members or friends. That's good practice for the third person singular.
Absolutely. And you could try to keep a free time journal for a week, noting down what you do each day and how you feel about these activities. Then you can look back and describe your free time habits.
I love that idea. And you could also try to compare your current free time activities with ones you had in the past or would like to have in the future. That's great practice for using different tenses.
Exactly. And for more advanced learners, you could try to write a short article or blog post about your favorite hobby. That's a great way to practice more complex sentences and vocabulary.
Those are all fantastic suggestions. I think the key is to make it relevant and personal to you. If you're talking about something that matters to you, you'll be more motivated to learn the language to express it.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. That's how we all learn, isn't it?
That's so true. I think it's helpful to remember that even native speakers sometimes hesitate or correct themselves when they're talking about their interests. Language is messy and imperfect, and that's okay.
Exactly. The goal is communication, not perfection. As long as people can understand what you're trying to say about your free time, you're succeeding.
That's such an important perspective. Let's think about some cultural differences in free time activities. That could be really interesting for our listeners.
Oh, definitely. In some cultures, people have very structured free time with scheduled activities, while in others, free time might be more spontaneous and unstructured.
That's so true. And the types of activities people enjoy can vary greatly between cultures. What's considered fun or relaxing in one culture might be different in another.
Exactly. And I think it's great for learners to be able to talk about their own cultural free time activities in English. It's a wonderful way to share and learn about different ways of life.
Absolutely. And it's also interesting to think about how free time activities have changed over time. Our grandparents probably had very different hobbies from us, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. No internet, no video games, no streaming services, and probably more time for things like visiting neighbors, community activities, or outdoor pursuits.
That's so true. It really makes you appreciate how much things have changed. And I wonder what free time activities will be like in the future.
That's a fascinating thought. Maybe virtual reality will change how we play games or experience entertainment, or maybe there will be a backlash against technology and people will seek more authentic offline experiences.
That's so interesting to think about. And it just goes to show that language needs to be flexible and adaptable to describe new experiences and technologies.
Exactly. Language is always evolving, just like our free time activities. And as English learners, you're part of that evolution, bringing your own experiences and perspectives to the language.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. Every learner adds something unique to the English language, and that's what makes it so rich and diverse.
Absolutely. And talking about free time is such a perfect example of that. Everyone's activities are different, and everyone's are valid and interesting in their own way.
That's so true. Well, James, we've covered so much ground today, from basic vocabulary to advanced structures, from common mistakes to learning strategies.
We really have, and I hope our listeners have found it helpful and inspiring. Remember, talking about your free time is such a practical and useful skill in English.
Absolutely, and it's a great way to share who you are and connect with others. Everyone has free time activities, so it's a topic that connects us all.
Exactly. So keep practicing, keep learning, and don't be afraid to share your free time activities with others in English.
That's perfect advice. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us on Learning English Studio.
Yes, thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into talking about your free time in English. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our podcast if you found it helpful.
We'll be back next week with another useful topic for English learners. Until then, keep practicing and enjoy your free time.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.